So we had a lot of people, both in the room here and other people that have like sending questions about sales. So people are in real sales drive now, both a lot of multi-day operators in the group, a lot of people like, even you as well, Con, you'll get a lot of value out of this side of things. And a lot of people that are gearing up for the summer. Borders are opening, obviously down here in Australia. It's awesome. International travel's finally resuming in a few days from now, which is fantastic. So, a lot of people, Michael, I saw you jumped in the room there as well. Sales. As I've said to all of you many, many times over, and I'll say it again, we can talk about problems, we can talk about issues and challenges, but when you look at your business, if you have a problem, and we've talked about a lot of problems, vehicle related, staffing related, whatever it is, if you have a problem that can be solved through sales and revenue, then you just do not have a problem in your business. Okay. So it's the lifeblood. It's a cliche. I love sales. I love revenue, really like money as well. And I hope you guys do too. And that's probably one of the reasons you're here as well. So if you can start filling your business, driving sales from a whole bunch of different places, that is going to allow you to solve any challenge, any problem. Mike, logistically with vehicles and drivers and parking and all that crap, Colin, staffing, recruiting, conditions, getting people to, create those manuals that we talked about and just like populate all the stuff. You don't have to do anything that happens in your business. You can solve it with sales and revenue. It's not a problem. You just find a solution for it. So big window of opportunity now. I'm sure we're seeing, obviously we've got a Northern Hemisphere summer that's now getting sort of close, putting on our doorstep, and people need to be preparing for that. A lot of people in relaunch phase after a pretty crappy couple of years and really want to get things flying. So now is an opportunity, a golden opportunity in this time where there's so much pent up demand. There's groups of friends that have been sitting on budgets, have been burning a hole in their pockets for, goodness knows how long. There's milestone celebrations, there's clubs and groups of societies, there's the corporate market, all these things people are now starting to want to, with confidence, start investing in experiences again. So now's the time. Now we looked at this through this. So I'm just letting a few more people into the room now. Big turnout today, which is great. Through this conversation, this chat we're going to have now, if you've got any questions or thoughts and considerations, then by all means dive in. So I just wanted to go a little deeper on something that we started talking about last week, which is getting that action plan in place. I'm just going to share my screen here. And so I just, before the call, I just jumped in here and just added in a few details to this simple sales action plan that we talked about, or we just had a look at for a short time last week. So hope you're all seeing that. If you don't know where I'm getting this from, you'll see it's in the Inside the Tour Business Resources. There is you've all got access to these Inside the Tour Business Resources, this beautiful collection of resources, solutions, manuals, agreements, processes, outreach, email scripts, all that stuff. And you'll see here in the sales section, the simple sales action plan. So I just thought I would go about this as someone that's running either a high ticket experience or someone that's running like a multi-day tour as well. And have a look at, so basically what I would do for anyone who's out there wanting to know, where am I going to grow my business this year? Well, what I'm sure you would all love from me is like me to wave a magic wand and say, what you got to do is that. And that is going to fill your business with sales, and you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be really, really happy. You'll be able to do anything you want for the rest of your life, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, I don't have a magic wand to wave. And with if you want to really like crush it this year, if you want a 3x or 5x or even 10x sales over the next year or 2 years, it's entirely possible. I believe from the bottom of my heart, it is entirely possible for any of you to do that. But it starts with examining your sales strategy, in my opinion. Okay. When you're growing a team in your business, the most important meeting you'll ever have is, I believe, is a sales meeting. All right. So if you're someone that's got a small team and has a growing business, and you're not big on team meetings. Well, if you're going to do any kind of team meeting on a regular basis, I think it should be a sales meeting. So one thing that I would do is base a meeting around, even if you're an owner operator, husband and wife team, you've got a small team, get a sales action plan in place. And it could look like this. It doesn't need to be sophisticated. It just needs to be a plan that gets ideas out of your head, agreements that you put on paper. It's documented, because once something's documented, it lives, it breathes, and it happens. Okay. If it's in your head, it just never happens. All right. So making commitments, carefully thought out commitments and decisions on where you believe the fastest, easiest growth is going to come in your business. So creating that action plan. So here's how you could do it. One thing that you would start with is like a major goal. So what would be that major goal over the next, let's do a 12-month plan. All right. What is that thing going to be? And it could be revenue related. It could be sales related. It could be whatever it is, but the major overarching goal for your business over the next 12 months. And then a little more detail, what would love to see happen over, just not on a broken down, high level, deep level, but just what are those things that you would love to see? More financial freedom, an abundance of sales, whatever it is that you'd love to see happen over the next 12 months that are going to make your business and your life infinitely more enjoyable than they are right now. So then what are the targets? So let's say, for example, you're running a multi-day business like Blake is, like Cherry is, and like others are, and your goal is to crack $1 million in sales. Okay, so that might mean that right now you're doing, I'm just throwing numbers in here. You might be doing like $600,000 a year in sales right now. That's probably unrealistic for some of you right now that have had a pretty tough couple of years. Readjust the numbers. I'm just like, you'll understand the spirit of it. So that could mean $360,000 in sales. So you got to break it down. So what's that going to mean? Well, that's going to mean 60 bookings, because my tours on average are around $6,000 per person for my multi-day trips. Okay. So that's going to mean I've got to make 5 sales a month over 12 months to hit that revenue goal. You know what I mean? So break it down. First of all, what does that ultimately mean I'm going to have to do? How am I going to do those things? How am I going to achieve them? You might call these activities, you might call them strategies, you might call them milestones, you can call it whatever the hell you want. Okay. But you're going to see here that I've chosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 strategies, right? That's like a smorgasbord of strategies. You might choose 4, 5, or 6. Okay. You're not going to choose all of them. You're going to say, well, some of those aren't going to work for me. All right. So, but because of bandwidth, because of budget, but because you don't want to be creating this like scattergun approach where you're like, I'm going to do 10 things and you're going to do them so half-baked that nothing's going to happen. So you need to choose a number of strategies that are consistent with your bandwidth, with the resources you have available within your business, and then you're actually going to be able to action. And we'll get to that part in a second. So and I want to talk in more detail about some of these as well. Okay. So strategy 1 might be an increase in website traffic, okay, with an improved call to action. So are you going to do that yourself? Are you going to increase your website traffic, or are you going to work with an agency? Are you going to actually outsource that to a freelancer through Upwork? Are you going to bite the bullet and work with an agency like Thomas or like tourism marketing agency? But ultimately, a lot of you need to be driving traffic to your website, and your call to action needs to be dialed in so people are actually taking action when they get there, whether that's joining your list, whether that's inquiring about a tour, whether that's booking a tour. So that stuff is stuff that I don't really feel a lot of us have the skill set to do ourselves. I believe if you're me, because I'm like a techno dinosaur in so many ways, and I definitely was when I was running my tour business. So that was something I needed support with. I wasn't going to do that myself. So that's an obvious one. And it would be obvious for a lot of you to get support to help you do those things. Any questions on that? No. My combination of these activities and strategies are going to be online and offline. Okay. Online and offline. Some of them are going to be, they're just going to run over there on autopilot. Others are going to be things that you're going to actually have to take action and dive in and grab and run with yourself. It's going to be a combination of the two. So the next one is going to be like a focus on direct sales. So you're going to be driving traffic to your site. You're going to be having people inquire. You're going to be, direct sales are obviously beautiful, okay? Commission free. And what you're going to want to do is start figuring out how you're going to increase the conversion of those high quality leads, okay? How you are going to dial in your ideal customer better. So you're actually, you're speaking to the right type of customer, how you're going to better qualify your leads. So you're not wasting time with tire kickers, how you're going to speed up or improve the quality of your responses to people's inquiries. Okay. So better quality, faster. That's awesome. And then how are you going to increase conversion? You might find that you only convert of like direct inquiries, tailor-made ones, 10%. Why? Is it the quality of the actual responses? Generally, it's a follow-up thing. Okay. So you need to figure out how you're going to increase conversion. Conversion's awesome. So how are you going to actually do that? A lot of it rests with a really great follow-up process, okay? Because there's a lot of fence sitters, ums and ahs, or get busy and distracted over there, and you just lose them. And so many of you do that. And you probably would be pulling your hair out. It would make you sick if you actually knew how much business that you have just willingly thrown away because you didn't have a follow-up process in place to capture that, low-hanging fruit, those fence sitters, those people that just need that extra little prod and push, and creative, thoughtful ways for you to do that. So that's the second strategy. And that takes a strategy. Lead gen. All right. So how are you going to grow your audience? Well, how much are you going to grow it by? Is it going to be 1,000 of your audience? Are you going to grow it by 1,000 a year? Or are you going to grow it by 2,000 a year? How are you going to break that down? Is that like an extra 300 or 400 people a month, whatever it is? So how are you going to grow your audience? So having some really thoughtful strategies in place, you're going to be able to do that. So, I mean, if you're running I had a look at this, for example. So these guys run multi-days and they've got some really great lead magnets. Not like, oh my God, these are unbelievable, but they've got really thoughtful lead magnets, okay, that are not just subscribe to my newsletter, yawn. How many people are actually going to do that? You might get a few people that are interested, but ultimately, if you're going to be growing your audience, one strategy is to create really great lead magnets, or one really awesome lead magnet. And that's got to be like wow, that's really useful. I've got to have that. That is actually going to be really valuable to me. Okay. So, however you're going to be growing your list, you need to be growing your list, because then you can market to those people over and over again. Okay. So that's really, really important. And then that leads directly into email marketing. So your email marketing should be a place that you are driving consistent sales. And, some of you might have great open rates, and so much to talk about with email marketing. I'm learning all the time, and I've improved the quality and the effectiveness of my email marketing over my journey, both as a tool business owner, definitely running the business that I run now. So if you're not, you might be getting 45% of people open your emails. That's great. But if you're like, oh, that's nice, cool, let's move on. How are you actually taking people along the buyer's journey? How are you taking opens along the journey into inquiries and into bookings? Okay. So, is your email marketing disruptive? Are you just like a wallflower? Because if you're a wallflower and people are like, oh, that's nice, great. But you're not actually making them think. You're not actually drilling down into burning pains or desires that need satiating, all those kind of things that make people take action. Like putting a needle in those frustrations. Like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Okay, great. I'm going to give Blake a call. Because I've got a frustration, I've got an itch that just needs scratching. And yeah, he's like, I'm putting my hand up and saying, you are speaking to me. That is something I find really annoying. And it's a constant source of frustration. I can't find the solution that I need yet. You know what I mean? So I've always thought with email marketing, so some of the things for me personally, like that, and I can use some of my examples. So for example, like this is an email that was quite effective for me. Could your tour business fund your retirement? Okay. It was like, wow, actually, holy crap. No, it probably couldn't. What am I going to do about that? I've been working my ass all my life at it. Well, I've got to read more. So there's an email there. And then do I deliver all like most of the service? Do I manage all the key relationships? Am I doing all and people are going, shit, no, I'm not. Oh my God. How do I fix this problem? How do I solve this problem? And Judy here is one example of someone who just put their hand up and said, I answered yes. Help me. What do I do? How do I fix this problem? You know what I mean? So with your email marketing, you might be ultimately the same principles could and should apply to you. 10% of people that you email to should ideally you want to be customers. Only 10%. 80% are going to be like, just like low level interested in and out, whatever. And 10% of people you're going to piss off. They're going to like just get out of my inbox, or like you're going to rub them up the wrong way. If you are putting a spotlight on unsatiated desires or pain points or problems or frustrations, you might actually rub people up the wrong way, disrupt people, or make people think, get out of their comfort zone. So those things can be really, really effective with your email marketing. If you've got questions, jump in, please. So that would be a place that you need to focus on and you need to improve, rather than just like your weekly newsletter where you're like, oh, let's put a spotlight on Destination A. Oh, that's really nice. Is that got the cut through? I think all of you should really be improving your email marketing. Okay. It's not the same kind, like I solve problems. Okay. But then you guys do as well. And you satiate, unsatiated desires. People have frustrations with the way they can't, with previous trips or travel. People find things confusing or overwhelming. People have problems and that need solving. People have desires that need satiating in your customers do as well. And then, what else have I got here? So outreach to travel agents and to travel partners. So we talked about this in a lot of depth, over the last few weeks. And I'm trying to think about some of the content that I gave you guys about some ideas to get the wheels turning with this. Your agent, you should be driving so much business through agents. Okay. I'm going to pop some links in the group again about places that you're going to find a whole bunch of agents that you should be starting to outreach to that could potentially be the right fits for you. There's some great content that we've covered over the last few weeks in the coaching calls on how to accelerate your business or grow your business through travel partners. So I'm going to put those links back in there. Destination management. If you're running trips in the US, destination management companies, receptive tour operators that service overseas agents that you should be outreaching to. Then there's Virtuoso agents, Signature Travel Travel Network agents. There's Valerie Wilson, there's Wendy Perry. There's so many different sources of agents. There's a whole bunch of tour agent-related Facebook groups. You could be engaging with people in those. So I'll drop those in there now. You guys have obviously the resources at your disposal here and if you haven't seen these, then jump into these Inside the Tour Business resources. You're going to find an outreach email script for travel partners long, an outreach email script for travel partners short. My recommendation for anyone who's starting out with an outreach process for travel partners, start working on that outreach email, okay? Because it gets you to think about how you're different and those key points of difference, okay? Because ultimately when an agent says, look, that's great, I've got a lot of other products loaded in my system. So it seems like you're kind of similar to a few things happening that I already do. I've got this relationship there. So those guys, how are you different? And you're like, great question. Those guys you mentioned over there, they're great at doing X, Y, and Z. Over here, we're very, very different. And here's the reasons why, okay? So start practicing that, your outreach email script, to really dial in those key points of difference, why people need to get excited about you, take notice of you, and go to the effort of actually loading your experiences and promoting what you do to their customer base. All right. So that's a really great place to start with your travel partners. People in this room that are just new to the program will probably need a bit more guidance and support with that. And that's fine. I'm happy to do that outside of the group. So that's travel partners. Back to what I was saying here. And please, if anyone's got questions at this point, just please jump in. And I'll be more than happy to answer them. Actually, that's something I just wanted to show you really quickly. Bear with me for 1 second. I had this out of interest. This will be interesting for you guys. So you guys might know Lem Brown. Lem is in the program, and you can see there, I say, oops, didn't mean to call. A lot of you guys probably get pocket calls from me because I'm always in my phone in my pocket trying to deal with kids. So apologies. I think I did it about 3 times this morning. Anyway, so Lem sent me this yesterday. Lem and his very small team started their agent outreach process, like just last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I think. And Lem, he's got a ranch in Texas. He runs trail rides, Sunset Trail Rides, really, really cool product. So he just sent me this through just to say, hey, we started this a couple of weeks ago, and we've got our first, booking in the wings, which is amazing. He's never done any business through travel partners before. What have I just done there? So that was awesome. So he's away and running, and I asked Lem. I'll come back here. So I obviously said to Lem, oh, my computer's running slow. I said, that's awesome. So, accommodation, meals, tours, what's the dollar value of the booking? And he said roughly about 2K. So really good start. And I said, how many solid agent relationships will you say you've started building so far that have potential to generate sales? And he says, 6 that we're in hopeful discussions with. And I said, yeah, it's a really great start. So once you're away, once you've got one agent who's going to send you a $2,000 booking, 1 can become 10. 10 can become 50. 50 can become 100. And over the next 2 or 3 years, 100 can become 200. Okay. And you've seen the results that I was able to achieve working with agents. So once you get that first person who says, and you go through my strategies, outreach, get first level of interest, get to first base, send them information, jump on a call, wait for that first opportunity, whether it's that additional PowerPoint presentation that you show them in more detail, what you're all about. And they're like, great, I've got some clients. This is perfect for them. I'm sending you over a booking. You're like, holy crap, it worked. Okay, let's do it again and again and again and again. And Lem is going to sit there in 3 or 4 years from now, and he's going to do $1 million a year in sales through agents that started with that first $2,000 sale. All right. So, it works. So a lot of you should be doing exactly the same thing. And Cherry, Blake, others who are in the group, and they are running multi-days, it's certainly well worth when one individual sale for you is a 6K sale, 8K sale, it makes the effort well worth it, doesn't it? Okay. And also for any of you as well, that goes for people that are doing repeat business. Okay. So, Lem, that agent is based down the road in, I think, Fort Worth or whatever. I don't really know Texas that well, but she's going to send consistent domestic bookings over and over and over again. Okay. So that's repeat business. Colin, you're going to start crushing it with that 5K sip and sail and helicopter experience in Seattle, right? You're going to crush it with the corporate market. And that corporate decision maker is going to book you over and over. Okay. So that's repeat business. So once, that one breakthrough could be worth, I showed you my Coca-Cola South Pacific business in one, calendar year, it was like $85,000. If I've sent you through. So you know what I mean? That's the potential is there with repeat business as well. It doesn't even need to be a high ticket thing. You might be selling a $200 experience, but you've got someone that can send you consistent repeat business. It's like the holy grail. I know I'm talking a lot, but hopefully you're learning a lot as well. And again, if you want to jump in. So anyway, the last one I'm actually going to spend time focusing on is your Facebook initiatives. All right. And then I'm just going to highlight the fact that I've got 10 different types of activities, and you might just choose a few of them. You might choose all of them. You might choose, 3 or 4. Facebook is something that works. I don't run ads. Everything I do is organic and involves outreach and a really great strategy. Again, these strategies work really well if you're selling a high ticket experience. It's worth like the time and effort, but also work really well for repeat business as well. If you are engaging with someone like who can send you consistent repeat business, 30 bookings of a $200 tour, then of course that makes this process well worth it as well. So you need to figure out if it's going to work for you, but getting into appropriate, suitable Facebook groups and starting to position yourself as an authority. Okay. So someone that provides value, someone that is an authority in a space, someone that people say, wow, thanks so much for helping me out. And other people watching and listening and are saying the same, well, this guy sounds like the real deal. Like this is awesome. So once you get into a group, you never want to be spammy or salesy. You want to be selling like super salesy down the line, but you want to be providing so much value first that people just feel great about taking it to the next level. Okay. So I would be, I've got my own groups here, How to Grow a Tour Business, which works really well for me. I've got about 3,000 people in that group. I've got this one, which was a newer one that I started, and a lot of you are in this group as well. Got 700 members in there. So they're growing and I'm learning and I'm improving all the time. So in those groups, I position my authority. Okay. I'm in other groups as well, Tour Operators United and others as well that I don't own, but I'm in there consistently providing, like positioning myself as an authority, getting people over into my groups just through wanting to, inviting them over. And they're like, yeah, I'd love to be a part of it because I've seen that you're really interesting and you provide value in those other groups. But talking about my own personal groups. Okay. So one thing that would be great for some of you to consider doing is starting your own Facebook group. And you want to be spending 30 minutes a day. All right. No more than 30 minutes a day in the group. And it could be whatever it is that's related, it could be authentic lovers of Italian food, or it could be, Mike, you could start a group based around paranormal tours. And I'm sure you might even, I'm not even sure if you do have one, but, again, for you, it's not high ticket. Who knows? It might be a high ticket. Imagine if Mike is such an authority that he creates this US wide multi-day come and explore paranormal US over 15 days with Mike, who is like the greatest authority in the country when it comes to, so people are like, oh my God, I've got to do this tour with Mike. He's hosting his own, and it's like a $15,000 multi-day tour. Like, I'm getting ahead of myself, but if that was you should be thinking about it, mate. So, there's a video, people interview, like they get to know me. I provide, just really great value. People are in there, a lot of you have seen that post. That's probably, this group probably not as good an example. I mean, this one a lot more because it's geared specifically to tour operators. Okay. So level of engagement's a lot better in this. Again, there's a nice little video there, some free resources. Boom. I'm in there, 28 comments in that one. People are in there. I've encouraged some of you to jump in there. Thanks very much. And people are like, read that. They're like, wow, this guy sounds amazing. I've got it. How do I get on one of these calls? So that's the group. What you want to be doing, I'll give you some ideas, and I don't want to just, how am I going to do this? I don't want to embarrass anyone who's been in message. Okay. So let's say, for example, I'm going to come down here and Jennifer, are you all seeing this? Hope you are. So here's an example of Jennifer. These are some strategies you could use. Hey, Jennifer. So okay, actually, I'm going to wind it back. The first thing you want to do is go to the people you may know section in Facebook. All right. And you want to start, I'm trying to think. Okay. So let's say here, friend requests and where is that? People you may know. Usually here, people you may know. Okay. So people you may know, and you just want to make friends with them and get them over, like and once you make friends with people, then you're going to want to get them over to your group. Okay. So as you go to that section and you're befriending people that have, similar interests and things like that, it's going to become easier and easier. You're going to have more friends in common. They're going to feel more comfortable being friends with you. and they're going to accept your friend request. They're going to say, oh, we've got 20 people in common. Great. So once you do that, then you want to invite them into your group. They may not accept the invite first of all. So then you want to just, a couple of days down the line. And again, you can do this in 30 minutes a day. Hey, Jennifer, might have seen, here's the link again. See you inside. Okay. So then Jennifer will join the group and I'll be in there straight away. Like, over the next day, again, be organized, time block. You don't want to spend too much time. Great to have you in the group. How's things? How's business? What do you feel like you could use some help with? We've got plenty of free stuff to share with you. And Jennifer, probably 50% of people come back and say, hey, nice to hear from you. I'll do this. And then I start sharing some great resources. So a lot of you would have come in just that way. I'm just trying to think of someone that I might have done that with. That's not here in the group. So I'll be in there like, well, you might enjoy this. Here's that. I saw you had some questions on pricing. Here's a couple of things that'll be useful for you. And this will also be really helpful with sales. So then Dale is going to go say nothing, or he's going to come back and say, wow, that's amazing. All right. If he says nothing, I'll be like, hey, how'd you go with those resources? Yeah, amazing. So what are you struggling with? He's going to go, well, I've just launched and ultimately I'll get him on a call. Okay. And once I get people on a call, I'm a 50% chance to enroll them in the program. All right. So is there any questions at the moment about that? I mean, I could talk in so much more detail about strategies to do that. I mean, Brandon, those strategies will work with you. They will work with you when you're selling like a premium private tour. And they will work with you when you're the outreach is with agents that are going to send you consistent repeat business. Okay. Do you have a question there, mate?
Yeah, I guess the question I had, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you're friending or working in these different Facebook groups, are you using your personal page, or have you built
personal
page? Okay.
You're breaking up a little bit, but definitely personal in my experience.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm a walking, living example of someone who started tinkering around with this strategy 6 months ago and is generating consistent 5K sales that cost me nothing. Okay. And when I engage people through these strategies, and I've said it to some of you, if you're running ads or some other types of strategies, you're out there fishing in the big wide ocean and it's a really hard place to fish. When ultimately what you want to be doing is creating a community, serving them, and it shouldn't take you a long time. Okay. You should be able to do it in a short chunk of time. I'm very disciplined, 30 minutes a day. You should be able to pull them out of that group. You should be able to engage with them on Messenger, and you should be able to enroll them in your tour, Cherry, or you should be able to build a relationship with an agent through those strategies. Okay. And when you do that, it's like fishing in your own tiny little private fish farm where everyone knows you. They already know. They feel like they know you. They've seen your videos. They've seen your content. Okay. It's just a natural progression that they're going to say, yeah, I actually want some extra help, or yes, now I've got the confidence, or yes, you've solved that problem, or all those kind of things. Does that make sense? Question, Cherry, you had a question there. And
Yeah, I did.
Sorry, Brandon.
I was asking if you would build out the group page so that it looks like you've posted, like if we're going to go in tomorrow and try to start this, would you spend a couple of days filling out your page and making it kind of rich with some content before you start inviting people?
The content doesn't, you just drop a couple of cool resources in there to start with. Okay. Nice cover image. Take a look at mine. Okay. But you can set your group up in 20 minutes. All right. Mm-hmm. And you can create, write your bio. You can put up some nice imagery, nice little welcome video, a piece of content. Okay. And then you're right. And you're like, hey, I've just started this group, get 20 or 30 or 40 people into the group. First of all, ask some friends to come in, previous customers to come in, like, hey, private message them. I mean, it'd be really awesome. Could you do me a favor? Can you jump in the group, introduce yourself. Tell me about your most favorite travel moment. Do it privately, like in a message. So then people are in there and you've got that instant engagement. And then you're in there like, hey, so good to have you in the group. Even though you've just manufactured it by asking them privately to do it for you. Okay.
Okay.
You're like, oh, so good to have you in the group. That's awesome. Like, you know what I mean? And then you're away. All right.
Okay.
And people want to be a part of a group. What people love in a group is engagement. They want to see people like bouncing around. And there is, you know, for you guys, it's so much easier for you. Okay. Because for me, it's harder to get engagement. You know why? Because I'm going at it like business to business and you guys are all busy. You don't have time. Are you running a business and growing a business, or are you in there tinkering around in Facebook groups and like posting and like, you know, talking about pains and challenges? Generally, you're over there trying to run a business. Okay. Yes, you need support, but it's a distant second priority. Travel related groups, leisure, recreation. The one thing that travel lovers love to do is talk about their travel experiences. All right. So they're in there. Oh, that reminds me that, you know, if you're like, hey, tell me about the best trip you've ever done. People are like, hands down, Italy. Oh, why? Oh, well, it was, you know what I mean? So it's a lot easier to get people engaged. All right. And then you start to position yourself as the ultimate authority. All right. You're sharing great content. You know, there's value, there's engagement, there's content, there's video, because people want to see Cherry as well. They want to see the face of, you know, like that person who's going to lead them. So this might all feel overwhelming, but it's a slow build. And, you know, you might have success inside of a week. You might just see a comment. Oh, and what was the worst trip you ever had? Tell me about that. And people are like, oh, this was like a nightmare. And like private message, hey, that sounds awful. Like, you know what I mean? Like people love to be listened to, engaged. And all of a sudden, you know, has that stopped you from, you know, from doing anything? Oh, why is that? You know, those things, people love to be listened to as well. Okay. And this may all seem overwhelming for a lot of you, like, oh, who's got the time? Just be disciplined and you wait and see what happens over a few months. All right. So that is like on I wouldn't say surface level. It's on a slightly deeper than surface level, but that is a wildly effective strategy that a lot of you could be implementing. I think that Becoming Authority is great. That's why we do a newsletter, starting a content hub. Yep. Think about the content. It's got to have them content. Ask me how many newsletters I sign up for. 0. It just like the word newsletter just makes me yawn. Okay. So the content may be great, but think about what's more disruptive. What gets people leaning in? Just like, oh, yes, like that's what I need. You know, I showed you a couple of examples of, you know, someone who's moved away from, whoops, I'm just not sharing there. I'll just quickly share that. Someone who's moved away from newsletters to more creative, thoughtful, interesting types of lead magnets. Okay. Ultimate guide for solo women. Okay. How to build a budget, create a budget so you can actually book that trip in and get that deposit paid earlier. That's great. You know, so some more creative, thoughtful types of content. Okay. Rather than just that newsletter. So Mike, you're off, mate. Can't wait to get started on the sales plan. I'm just going to continue on with that sales plan as well, just to let you guys know about that next kind of step of it, because I haven't really done that yet. So the next thing that needs to happen is, and you know, things like this, guys, media in the Inside the Tour Business resources to get you started. If you go down here to marketing, you're going to see all of my sample marketing collateral. You're going to see sample press releases that I had a lot of success with, my outbound tours. And they were like, you know, I sold one trip out, 12 spots on a multi-day trip off the back of one press release. Okay. So those things there's resources in there that are going to help you do that. And one thing that's really useful for you guys to know, tonight on the coaching call that happens in 12 hours, I'm going to be talking to Gary Linton about his gift certificate strategies, running Facebook ads. And he did about £60,000 in sales for a $36 tour over Christmas, running gifts, like selling gift certificates. So he's going to tell us all about that strategy. And that could run, that same strategy, I think, well, we're going to find out if that could run for a high ticket experience as well. That could work for a high ticket experience. So if you can't come along in 11 hours to that, get the recording. It'll be in the group over the next couple of days. So now the next thing you need to do once you've decided on your strategies, your actions, back up here, agreed actions and strategies, the next thing you're simply going to do is you're going to make some decisions. Who's going to be accountable for it? Well, it's going to be Cherry, or it's going to be Blake initially. That's fine. What are the immediate next steps? Bullet point. I need to do that. Give a deadline or a timeline, you know, by Friday next week, I'm going to do that. So actually break that down. What are the immediate next steps? How much time do you think you'd have to spend? Or am I going to outsource it? How much time do I think that I'm going to need to spend? That outsourced solution is going to have to spend doing that. What sort of budget's associated with that? And then, yeah, budget, cost, you know, how much is there a budget associated? Yes or no, how much? And sales goals. Give yourself a goal through that channel. I'm gonna give myself a goal of 2 sales a month of my $6,000 tour through that particular strategy. Okay. So then some other, you know, important notes or anything that's related to the actual nuts and bolts of that strategy can pop in there. This is just a template for obviously for a sales action plan that you can you can revise, iterate to suit your own needs. And then you got the some examples there. So the same thing. Who's going to be accountable for that? What are the actual next steps to do these things? How much time is going to be required? What I want you to not do is have to spend 3 weeks creating a sales action plan. I want you to spend 3 weeks selling. I want you to spend 2 hours creating a sales action plan so that you can then sell. Rather than just tell yourself you're busy creating an action plan that's going to take you 2 weeks to finalize. Does that make sense? You know, it should be a short, sharp exercise. It should be a 1-pager, maybe 2-pager. If you want to then take it a level further, create some kind of activity calendar. All right, so in the month of August, what am I actually going to do? How long is it going to take? All right, that's awesome to do that. And then down here, is there any budget? You know, just for the finance brain or the finance side of things, do I actually have to allocate budget? What activities are going to require budget? How much is that budget going to be? And any other important information there that's budget related. And then this part is super important, planned review dates. So when am I going to review this plan? I reckon every month. On the first day of every month, you pull that plan out and you review it. Did you actually action all those steps that you agree that you would? Okay. Yes or no. That's okay. Don't worry, because you are going to fail in a lot of areas. I hate that word. You're going to review it and you're going to go, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 no, no, yes, no. And you just revise it and you go again. All right. Having a plan doesn't mean it is a failure when you don't execute it every month. Okay. Then you revise it and you go again and you set it for the next month. You revise it, you go again, you set it for the next month. So who reviewed it? Who was in attendance at that review? Well, it was just Colin, because Colin's got no other support around him at the moment. Or it could have been Colin and his Thomas account manager, because you're working with an agency now. So that part would maybe have someone in attendance. What are the notes? You know, you had some agreed actions. You had some targets and goals based on those. Did you hit them? Why? Why not? Okay. So that is something you can play around with. And I believe so strongly over the next 24 months, if you guys can start consistently working to a sales action plan, you're going to do crazy amazing things in your business. And it is going to be the catalyst for driving sales in bigger numbers than you ever thought realistically possible. So any immediate questions on that, ladies and gentlemen?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. And this can be just a quick, like, yes or no. But when we initially spoke, you thought that I should, you thought I was charging too little for my tours and that I needed to work on the price point. Do you recommend that I do that now before I start reaching out to agents and other people, so I already have that new price point set in?
If you go about it two ways, it's a great marketing tool just to let people know that, all these great things are happening in your business, and the price point for your tours is set to increase significantly for departure, blah, 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 blah. So this is your last opportunity to get in at the current pricing structure. So that's a really good way. Or you could just draw a line in the sand and say, you know what, this is the way that things are from this point. So, if you feel like your trips are really profitable as they currently are, but as we've talked about, this scope to really increase those prices, then that could be, that early bird special. That could even be a better way to go about it. You could revisit your pricing and reprice now for the long term, but offer that early bird special with that booking window, that call to action to get in at the existing pricing. And that's what will constitute the early bird special.
Okay. I can do that because I haven't built in commissions or anything into the pricing as of now. Yeah. So I'll need to readjust everything. So that's good. Yeah. I can work with that. Thank you.
But your process right now, Cherry, in the Facebook group, I'm going to drop in some links to some places that you could and should begin your outreach process. Okay. Another great, and I've talked a lot, go back to the coaching call recordings from the last call one from the last couple of weeks. We talked a lot about travel partners and how to grow your business. Take in some of those. For you, so I'm going to drop in some places, some lists of receptive tour operators, some destination management companies, some agents or places where you're going to find a lot of agents that you need to dive in and feel your way through and find the right fits for you, not just blanket outreach. And I talk about that a lot in those in those coaching calls, call one from the last couple of weeks. So then your first port of call, your first step is that outreach email. Okay. Once you've dialed in your product, if there's going to be tweaks or changes or iterations to pricing or the experience, but it's got to start now. Like your outreach should begin now. And your outreach for, whether it's clubs and groups and societies or, country clubs in certain destinations or other places, travel agents, travel partners, it's not that wildly dissimilar, but you need to start dialing in as a first step, that outreach email. There's a long version, there's a short version, play around with both, but that's going to be that thing that get people lean in and take notice. And you want to put your own spin on it because there's thousands and thousands of agents that I've pointed you guys towards, but there's also a lot of you that are really hitting outreach hard at the moment. So you don't want to be someone who's hitting up an agent with a generic email that they just saw 4 times last week from other people in the program. Does that make sense? So you'll understand the core elements that you need to, and you'll understand why those core elements need to be in it. But definitely give it your spin and your voice as well. So, you'll learn that your goal is to get to first base, and first base is for an agent to say, hey, this sounds interesting. I'd love to learn more about it. And that's when you provide them with your marketing collateral, your terms and conditions, an outreach, an accompanying email for your rates and your terms and conditions, a little video that you might like to embed into your terms and conditions document or into your welcome, your accompanying email That'll also always work super, super well when you are, and Blake, you're the same. Anyone who's Colin, all of you, Micah, get really good at being in front of the camera. All right?
Okay.
Because it is like next level effective for you to just embed a little welcome video, because Cherry, people are going to put their faith in you. You're going to be the one. Ultimately, you want to be able to scale up and have other people running trips. But ultimately, people are going to be wanting to connect with you, be drawn to you. Okay?
Okay.
So giving people a chance. And it doesn't, definitely with that video, what you don't want. And Yvonne, you're the same with your corporate experiences. I hope you may or may not be listening in. Michael, you don't want to be talking about we do this and this and that. It's like they want to learn about you, your passions, your story. All right? Why do you do?
And are you thinking this video is like just 30 seconds, something that's just going to kind of explain the content that's within the email that you send?
I don't think you need to explain the content. No.
Yeah, just the content. Hey, I'm Colin. I do this, and
not even that. You're probably wondering, like, this is me. This is the face. This is because ultimately at the moment that is what you're going to be having success because people are going to build a connection, a relationship with Colin initially. As you scale up, there's going to be other guides, and you're going to get to the place where you're going to have people who are doing what you do better than you do it yourself, and that's ultimately where you want to get to. But so in that video, it's just, like I thought it would be a great opportunity for you to learn, introduce myself, learn a little bit more about me and, why I do what I do. And what I do here is like the culmination of a burning desire that I've had pretty much since I was 15. And I did that thing that just ignited this fire in me. So, it took me a little while to get to this point, and I loved the experiences I had working front desk as a concierge and just getting that intimate face-to-face. And I just wanted to showcase my region that I just love so deeply on blah, 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 blah. So here I am. So here it is. I'm the face of Totally Seattle Tours. I get up every day doing what I love because I've realized a 10-year dream to just show people this special corner of the world. Nice to meet you. Boom. That's it. Don't get in the weeds talking about Tour A and Tour B and all that sort of crap. That's what your resources are for. You want people to lean in and learn about Cherry and learn about Colin, learn about Micah. Okay?
Okay.
That's what people want to know. They want to know your story. So.
And Cherry, I'm sorry to derail, but you were talking about like what to do. I just worked on all my tour pricing. I pretty much had it as I need to get my pricing up to date and ready for 2022 push, get the marketing material behind it that supports that. So, there's something to do that. And now I'm faced with my biggest fear, which is outreach and, put my face out there. But got to do it,
Okay.
And Josh always gets me super motivated to get out there and do it. But I also need to be patient and make sure all my ducks are in a row. But yeah, you can't wait for everything to be perfect until you
don't wait for it to be perfect. It'll evolve and it'll improve as you go, mate. So I wouldn't be waiting at all. And there is no shame with, this is coming soon or because it's just another reason to get back in touch with someone.
Okay.
So waiting for all your ducks to get lined up is just delaying, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Okay. You're ready, mate. You're ready. I know you're ready. You're ready. You just got to get your teeth into it. And you wait and see what happens to your level of motivation when you have that first win. How good do you feel Len Brown sitting over there in Texas on his ranch when he's just had that first 2K booking from an agent? He's like, boom, is he going to plot away? He's just going to be in it. Like, let's just replicate that result. Boom, 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 boom. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I'm in Texas too. I'm wondering where he is.
Oh, cool. He's got a ranch. It's called Brazos Bluffs Ranch.
Okay.
Anyway, look him up. He's in the program.
I will.
You'll find him in the group. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Okay, guys. I've got to sign off.
Right.
Great
Thanks,
chat.
Josh.
Hopefully, it has been enlightening and motivating, and you're going to all get out there and crush it with sales this month, next month, and every month.
Okay. Thank you.
Gracias. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.